Shanti. The song says, Va Baba Va. Yeah? And just the feeling of the magic in our life happens when I can really say Va to Baba. There's something that needs to shift deep inside the soul, not just on an intellectual level, but on a very, very deep level, so that magic can happen in our lives. Yesterday we had the beautiful class in the evening by Brij Mohan Bhai in Pandav Bhavan. And he was talking about now is the time. And whatever I have to make happen, I have to make it happen now. And if I don't make it now, then the soul will feel regret. And so sometimes the question comes is, we know what we have to do, and we know that we have to bring about that change. But what happens in between? Sometimes there's a gap. When the soul is silent, its heart knows what it has to do. And yet between knowing what it has to do and what is the reality of my effort, there's sometimes a gap. Yeah? And when the soul feels that gap, that is when my Brahman life can feel a strain. It may feel difficult. It may feel that many things need to still fall into place. And I've been asked to share part of my experience when we had the youth retreat, but it was just accurate in the drama. Last night I just was recollecting for myself the gifts that Baba had given the soul in the last few days. And it's what I would like to do with you is share in summary the realizations and the gifts that came during the retreat. The theme of the retreat was choose, change, and become. And that is really what our Brahman journey is about. When we became a Brahman, it's a choice we made, isn't it? Did you make the choice? Or did it just happen to you? A bit of both, isn't it? Sometimes our life just happened to us. And at the same time, there must be some point in our journey where we made the decision, this is the life I want to lead. And so we chose to live a life of a Brahmin. And the life is about change. At every moment of my journey, it's a journey of change. You know, if you're going on in the airports, you get these, what you call them? Those things that you can walk with, so it's faster. Hey? Yeah, the one that moves faster, you can walk on it. And you know, if you keep walking on it, it's moving. And if you decide to stand still, or you decide to move backwards, what happens? You'll fall. Yeah? And I feel that the confluence age is like that. It's an age of constant movement and an age of constant change. Because this is what this Brahman life is about. And this is what the confluence age is about. It's about change. And if along the way I stand still, or along the way I start moving backwards, and the backwards could be in many forms, slight doubt coming in. Another important energy that Brij Mohan Bhai brought up in yesterday's class is we take our Brahman life for granted. Yeah? Something to be very alert about, that I do not take my Brahman life for granted. It's a life that's filled with opportunities, a life that's filled with fortune, a life that's filled with gifts at every moment. And it's human nature at times to take things for granted. After a while, we can take the most auspicious and most powerful things in our lives, we can actually take them for granted. And so when we take them for granted, they become ordinary. And so, in order for the soul not to experience ordinariness, in order for the soul not to experience the level of stagnation or a feeling of staleness, our Brahman life is a journey of constant change. And if I'm not feeling the freshness of my Brahman life, a very interesting syndrome can set in. It's called Brahman fatigue. Fatigue is a chronic state of tiredness. And it's not that the soul is actually tired, but it's just that it's become stale. There's no newness, there's no freshness that's coming. And so, to look at a deep level in my journey, how much every day I can look into Baba's eyes at the end of the day and say, Baba, today I experienced this change. Because the honesty of our Brahman life is in our honesty to Baba. And how often can I look into Baba's eyes and look at Baba and say, Baba, today has been a new day. Today has been a new growth. Today I have discovered something more about myself, and today I have discovered something more about you. Because if the soul is not feeling this every day, it's just a matter of time that it begins to feel stale. Anything that is stale is not healthy. Even we know in the world, if food is stale, after a while you won't eat it because you know it's not good for your health. And how often do we hold stale thoughts in our mind? Stale thoughts are thoughts that were of yesterday. Even in our Brahman life, we have to keep bringing change in such a way that I have to find methods in my own life that works for me. If there's something I'm doing and it's not working for me, then I have to be honest to myself and say, I need to change. We know ourselves the best. Nobody knows our thinking patterns more honestly than we know ourselves. So some things may work for some people, but maybe it's not what works for me. So I need to know how to change it. But let me not just stand, because if I stand in one place in my consciousness, then I will fall or I'll get hurt. And then the third theme of our retreat was about becoming. And the analogy that comes very strong to me is because our theme of the retreat was choose, change and become, and the image that we used was that of flying, taking on board the flight and reaching our height. Now if you look at an aeroplane, you sit in the plane and you fasten your seat belt, and then when the plane is on the ground, it makes a big noise, isn't it? When it's building its momentum. Then it increases its speed, and it comes to some point where the plane has to leave the ground, isn't it? It can't just keep going. It has to come to some point where it has to take flight. Because the plane is not meant to be on the ground. isn't it? That is just a platform, that is just a runway that the soul has before it can take flight. And even in our own Brahman life, we have to see very much that I'm not just busy on the runway. Sometimes we make a big noise, we rev, but we don't take off. And our life is not meant to be one of being on the ground. Our life is one to be up in the sky. And so at one point in our journey, we need to have the courage to let go and fly. And the only thing that keeps us on the ground is our own thinking patterns. The only thing that keeps us on our ground is our own state of ordinary awareness. I remember about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I'm not sure, maybe the Murli of the 20th of December. Probably it was this Avyakt Murli that Baba spoke about duty and promise. It's a Murli that touched my heart very deeply. And Baba was saying in that Murli that it's all about powerful awareness. The only thing that keeps the soul weak is when it does not make its awareness powerful. And that is our responsibility. Nobody's going to do it for us. We can hear so much of knowledge, but if I don't hold that in my state of awareness, then the soul is not able to take flight. Because awareness is the fuel. And the more and more that fuel is of strong quality, it's easier for the soul to take flight. And so the whole process of choose, change, and become. And sometimes we have to be careful that I'm not just so busy thinking, and I'm not just so busy in a space of thinking one day I will become. Because the confluence age, the days, then the moments are now so close. I've been feeling very deeply this time in Madhuban how this yajna, from the time of its inception, from the time of its beginning, it's been over 70 years. Day and night, the momentum is growing and growing. It has never stopped. Imagine a day when there was no Amrit Vela or no Murli. It doesn't work like that, isn't it? It's a yajna that has to be kept alight. And so it's fed into the yajna on a daily basis. And the fire, this yajna, is growing stronger and stronger and stronger. And we are in those moments now of that yajna, which are the most powerful moments of, how they say in a physical yajna, it's the moment of swaha, the final surrender, where I give in all that needs to go. And so that momentum is growing. And what I've decided to do, and I thought I would share them with you, is during the time of the retreat, we had a number of seniors that were with us and a number of workshops that was run. But what I had aimed to do was just to consolidate it for myself. And so I'm going to share with you some of the gems that came out through the seniors, and especially on the first day of the retreat, of the coordinators retreat, Dadi Janki was with us. And she gave a very beautiful context to this word choose. And so I've just summarized a lot of the things that happened during the retreat, and I thought that I could share them like that with you. On the first day of the retreat, we were in Pandav Bhavan, And Daddy gave this class in the history hall, and the whole topic was choose. And Daddy gave beautiful insights about what does it mean to choose. And she said, you will only choose that which is your choice. You will only choose that which is your choice. Actually, there is no other choice other than what Baba wants. So at this time, we feel from Baba's drishti, from Baba's words, even in the last Avyak Murli, the hopes that Baba has in us, the signals that Baba's giving. So Daddy was just talking about it, that the only choices we have at this moment in our life is what Baba wants. Ultimately, what is the choice? The choice we make at this time is to change. Therefore, do not delay in making a choice. And Daddy was saying, you only become what you choose. So something to ask the self very consciously, what are the choices I have made? What is it that I have truly chosen? I can say, yes, I'm a Brahmin, but really to ask myself, what is the quality of life I have chosen for myself? Because even as a Brahmin, I can come into my Brahmin life with top speed, or I can have a mediocre level of effort, or I can just be a Brahmin and say, well, it's okay, I'm a Brahmin. Yeah? And so Daddy was saying, you become whatever you choose. In fact, the focus is not on change, but creating a chain. We have to create a chain of elevated methods, of making efforts that will make change come. And so Daddy was really encouraging on the first day, what are the elevated methods I am using to bring about change? We all know that, yes, ultimately there will be change in our life, but I can either do it the hard way, I can do it the laborious way, I can feel the struggle of bringing change. Or like how Baba was saying in the last Murli as well, that Baba has given us a list of the most beautiful points of self-respect. So am I bringing change in my life from that basis of elevated method, the elevated method of holding my self-respect? And so Daddy went on and said, at the confluence age, we can now all sit on Baba's heart throne. Therefore, you have to ask yourself, who do I now belong to? And again, when I know who it is that I belong to, then I'll make the right type of choices. It is in the world when we don't have an identity, we don't know who we are, and who is it that we truly belong to. It is because of that that I don't then make the right choices. If I know which clan I'm part of, then I will make choices accordingly. Yeah? I remember one of the Avyak Murlis Baba spoke a few weeks ago, and how Baba was encouraging in that Murli. Baba was saying, when you remember your clan, you'll receive the power. You know, like even if somebody is weak, and Baba, I think, used the example of the Rajput clan, which is a warrior clan. And so even if somebody is weak, and if they are kept reminded of who they are, that you are part of a very powerful clan, that you are a clan that can win any battle, then even if the soul is feeling weak, it's able to claim back its strength because of the awareness of knowing who is it that it belongs to. Similarly, Baba also brings about in our life the whole aspect of knowing who is it that we belong to. We belong to such an elevated clan. And then when I understand who it is that I belong to, then I will make my choices accordingly. When there's a clarity of who I am, and the clarity of knowing who is it that I belong to, then the choices in my life will become natural. And so a question was asked to Daddy during that time. One of the questions that was asked to Daddy is, how can I allow my future to influence the choices I make now so that my present can be the best? So this was the question that was asked to Daddy. How can I allow my future to influence my choices? And the choices are what I make now so that I can become the best. And Daddy gave a very beautiful response to that. And she said, do not engage the intellect in thoughts that others should change. This is a waste of time. Have value for your thoughts and give value to time. Keep the deep concern and love. What aspect should I change in myself? This draws the love of Baba and the seniors. Don't draw another soul in between your process of transformation. It's a very deep point that Daddy shared there. She said, your transformation is your transformation. And do not bring another soul in between, because it weakens the link of realization. And so just to work with that deeply, keep a clean intellect and you will draw subtle cooperation through your love. Baba's love, Baba's cooperation, and Sakash will become an experience for you. Keep the link of all three, Baba's love, Baba's cooperation, and Baba's Sakash. Daddy was saying it is dangerous to develop the habit of carelessness. And she interestingly linked it with carelessness. When the soul is not experiencing its stage of maturity, then it becomes careless. Yeah? So only when you become 100% pure will truth come together. Purity and truth has a very deep connection. Baba is always willing to help. Therefore, don't lose your link. Be brave in your efforts. And so really Daddy was just bringing about the whole aspect of knowing that at this time, the reality of knowing our life and what it is that we have to achieve now. And know that the choices I make is what I will choose. Your choice is what you choose. So at each point to ask yourself, what is the choice? And the choice that I have at this time really is a choice of change. That's it. So on the first day then, Daddy encouraged us to find methods, because she was talking about finding elevated methods to bring about change. So at every level we need to bring change, but what is it that we have to do to bring about change quickly and powerfully? So she gave us homework and she said, think about elevated methods through which you can bring about change. So we thought about it, and the next day when we met, we developed formulas. The whole session was on formulas, or one could understand it easier, like the recipe for change, or things that one can use to bring about change. And so we thought about it, and we each looked at our own lives and thought, what is it in our own life that has helped us bring about change? So some of us shared how, I know for myself, I've realized that one of my foundation in my Brahman life that has really kept me as a Brahman and really helped my Brahman life is powerful Amrit Vela, no matter what. And I know that for me that is the formula. If I can start off with that formula of powerful Amrit Vela, then many other things happen. I know in my formula, for me, the formula was powerful Amrit Vela, love for the Murli, deep honesty. And I find for me the honesty is really being able to look into Baba's eyes and very deeply feel what part of my being have I still kept the door closed. Because when I can open all the doors of my life in front of Baba, then God's sunshine will come in. Yeah? But I have to open the door. And sometimes it's in Baba's drishti that we find that. I find especially here in Madhuban, just to take that time and really sit in front of Baba in Baba's room, and especially before we need to leave, to really take that time and look into Baba's eyes and say to Baba, what is it that the soul has to let go of? Because I think the greatest deception in our life is to deceive the self. Yeah? We can fool anybody in our life, but the greatest loss that we create and the greatest level of deception that actually comes is when we deceive ourselves. So each one in that way thought about the formula for change in their life. And then the next day we shared with Daddy about what we felt helped us. And then Daddy's first response is, oh, you think too much. And you make you make very hard effort. And Daddy said, I'll give you 12 quick formulas for change. So she didn't say 12, but as the session developed, she gave 12 very beautiful formulas for change. And I'd like to share those with you. They're very simple, but very beautifully how Daddy shared. The first thing she shared, her first formula for change, in order to bring about change, she said, always remember 4 Om Shantis. So the first Om Shanti is for the self, the second is for Baba, the third is drama, and the fourth is others. There is so much power in this energy of Om Shanti. And how much can I bring that energy close? So the first formula she shared was the 4 Om Shantis. How much can I be absolutely in essence with myself as Om Shanti? How much can I be with Baba in the space of Om Shanti? How much can I respond to drama with this pure energy of Om Shanti? where the soul is not battling, soul is not fighting. And the fourth is Om Shanti with others. Means absolute peace and an absolute state of acceptance. So that was the first formula she shared. The second formula that she shared in order to bring about change is she said, care, share, and inspire. Because that will allow your energies to flow powerfully. How much is my Brahman life filled with caring, sharing, and inspiring? And she shared at that point the example of Brahma Baba. That was the example. Baba had the most utmost level of care. And so much of sharing. And his life was an inspiration. And as Daddy was sharing that, I thought, well, Daddy, this is what you are. This is what she does. She cares so deeply, but she never stops sharing. At every moment. And just that whole space of bringing an inspiration. So care, share, and inspire. Then the third formula she gave to create change is said, become Bap Saman. That is equal to the Father. Make others Up Saman, equal to the self. And enable the family to become Ek Saman. That means in a space of unity. Bap Saman, Ap Saman, and Ek Saman. To be equal and to be able to come into a state of unity. And when Daddy was sharing that, I was just thinking about really the kind of sustenance Baba and the seniors have given us. It's really now the fruit of that and the thanks of that is to make that effort to become equal. But it's not a journey alone. It's a journey together with each one of us. And it's that whole feeling of unity. Then the next formula that Daddy shared was, in order to bring about change, experience Baba in 3 ways. Experience Baba as, Daddy used the Hindi word Ratnagar, means experience Baba as the jeweler. It's really drawing out the jewels in you. Experience Baba as Saudagar, the one who is the businessman, where you can strike the highest deal. And experience Baba as Jadugar, Baba as the magician. So in order to bring about change in my life, how much do I experience Baba in all these 3 ways? Baba as the jeweler, Baba is the businessman, and Baba is the magician. So to experiment with these 3 more and more. Because this is a way of making elevated effort. To use the power of these 3 energies of how Baba as the jeweler is drawing the best out of me. It's making me into that diamond. The 4th formula, or is it the 5th formula that Daddy shared, was increase Atmik Bal. That means the strength of the soul. We have to keep increasing. We know in life as well, you can't bring change until there is strength. Anything you want to change, You need power and you need strength to change. So Daddy was saying, increase that strength of the self. Increase your atmic bal. As weaknesses are removed, the soul can get stronger. And I'm sure your experience is also that we now don't have so many weaknesses, no? But there's just a few stubborn ones that just hangs around. And so those are the ones that need to go. So she was saying, now increase this atmic bal. As weaknesses are removed, the soul will get stronger. Atmic bal, yeah? That means the strength of the soul. Have faith in the self and don't give up. And then Daddy said, it is then that Baba will give the soul power, Paramatam Shakti. Daddy used this very beautiful word, Paramatam Shakti. We'll be able to experience that power from Baba. So the more and more the soul increases its own strength and removes its own weaknesses. And really this time in Madhuban is the opportunity. Yeah? Can feel how it's becoming stronger and stronger. And so we can do that. So Atmak Bal and Paramatma Shakti. So that means I'll be able to experience that strength and that power from the Supreme. The next formula that Daddy shared was have courage and the Father will help. This is the formula for change. And please the Lord with an honest heart. So the next formula she shared for change was have courage. Yeah. Baba drew our attention to that in the last Murli, isn't it? Baba was saying, do you have the courage to fight Maya? Baba was asking us to raise our hands as a feeling of conviction, yeah? Commitment. How much is the soul filled with courage? And once Baba, a long time ago in one of the Murlis, Baba very beautifully helped me understand what the word courage is. Baba had said in that Murli that courage means to do. Yeah? That means make it happen. Don't just live with it in your head. If we need to bring about change, we need that courage. Yeah? And then together with courage, the equal energy that's required is the energy of honesty. Yeah? So when the soul is honest, then Baba the Lord will be pleased. The next formula that Daddy shared was, in order to bring about change, remember two words, Purusharat and Pralabd. That means, Purusharat means your effort. Constantly realize that with every level of effort, there is a reward. So sometimes we get just caught up in the effort. But to realize that for every step of effort that I put in, there's multi-million-fold reward. So the combination of the two. My effort should bring me instant reward. So to ask yourself what kind of effort that I'm making. If my efforts aren't reaping a reward, there's something I have to do differently. It's like if you can't get through a certain way to some place, then you have to be strategic and look at things differently and ask yourself, maybe I need to take another way. So for every effort, there's a reward, but to feel that connection. The next formula that Daddy shared was, during the day, keep changing your 4 dresses. And Daddy was saying, keep changing the 4 dresses as many times in a day as you can. And those 4 dresses Daddy was talking about was the incorporeal, the angelic, the deity, and the worthy of worship stage. Remember this effort Baba gave us a few years ago? I know a soul that's sitting here now who really took that as a drill, and I know even till today, every hour, he still makes that effort. You know, and Baba had said, a few years ago, Baba had given us that effort. You know, the incorporeal form, the angelic form, the deity form, and the worship-worthy form. Somebody still makes that effort, eh? Mm-hmm. And then another formula that Daddy shared, I've lost the numbers by now, so okay, very good. Okay, well done, 9, okay. The next formula that she shared was, use Baba to strengthen your foundation. Use drama to make your stage unshakable and immovable. And use the family to remain cheerful. So 3 very important aspects. Use Baba to strengthen your foundation for change. Use drama to make your stage unshakable and immovable. And the family to remain cheerful. It's very interesting that he used the word cheerful. She didn't use the word happy. Yeah? Because there's a big difference between happiness and cheerfulness. You know, when somebody's sick, you don't say to them, oh, be happy. You say to them, cheer up, isn't it? That means situations will be there, obstacles will be there, but to rise above it and still keep a smiling face is to be cheerful. So yes, situations will come in our Brahman life, our own sanskars, our life. There may be moments where things don't go the way they should go or we would like it to go. But like Baba was saying in the second last Murli, just to have that deep, deep faith in the family and to remain cheerful. Another formula that Daddy had shared to bring about change is, she said, in your Brahman life you need 3 friends. You have to have 3 friends. So who do you think are our 3 friends? Okay? We need 3. She said, keep 3 friends. The first friend is the self, okay? Be a friend to yourself. The second friend is Baba. And then who's your third friend? Rama. Well, she shared something very interesting. She said, the third friend is the one who insults you. Because be a friend with yourself, make Baba your friend, and make the one who insults you your friend. Because those are the moments, when people are good to you and everything is fine, it's no big deal. Isn't it? But think about it in your own life. Change can really come when you can embrace those souls that also make things difficult. Because they keep you into the reality of what's important. So they are also your friend. And sometimes when a person insults you, as a person, you think, oh well, I'm just going to stay away from them. But sometimes as a detached observer, we need to listen to what they're actually saying. Because somewhere in whatever they're saying, there's something for me. They may not, I can say, oh well, that's not who I am, or this is not the truth. But there's always something there. But we have to listen to it as a detached observer. Because if we come too much into feeling, then we accept what they say and we put it in our heart, and our heart becomes heavy or we get disheartened. Isn't it? And so, to those people in our life that also may not agree with us, may insult us, we need to have the humility to listen to them. But you need two ingredients, humility and a detached observer. Otherwise, it will bring you into feeling. And when you come into feeling, you can't bring change easily. The next formula she shared was she was playing with 4 Hindi words here. Vritti, Vayumandal, and vibration, 3 words. So firstly she said, keep vritti is your attitude. Keep your attitude that of a detached observer. And so she was sharing if you keep your attitude that of a detached observer, then you'll rise beyond praise, defamation, victory, and defeat. But one has to be detached. And secondly, so she was sharing, when your attitude is one that of a detached observer, then the atmosphere that you create will be one that is safe and strong. And we find at this time the real service that we can do is only to create a safe and powerful atmosphere, isn't it? This is where a lot can happen. And your vibrations will reach out into the world in an unlimited way. So keep your attitude one of a detached observer. Create an atmosphere that is safe and strong, and then your vibrations can then reach out to the world. So the formula for change starts with the attitude. Attitude leading to the atmosphere, atmosphere leading to the vibrations you then give off. And the 12th formula she shared is always remain in your position, no matter what the opposition may be. Formula for change. Always remain in your position, no matter what the opposition will be. And we've seen how Baba has really brought about this reminder and awareness for us. And it's come up a few times this season. Stay in your elevated self-respect. That is the position we can stay in. The position is our seat of self-respect. then no matter what opposition may come, it will not oppose me. So I found for myself experimenting and thinking about these 12 formulas that Daddy shared. And to look at them deeply within the self and see how is it that this can bring about change. Clear? And then the third part of the retreat came on the whole aspect of becoming. How to become. And there were a few things that came up. So we looked at choose, change, and become. And what I've done is I've summarized, not only from Daddy's class, but from a variety of experiences that souls shared during that time on the whole aspect of becoming, and some of the realizations that some of the souls shared. And so we came up with 8 main points. Points to give attention in order to become complete. Yeah. So these are things that we can pay attention to that will help us become complete. And Daddy had shared this point. Keep looking ahead at Baba only. Do not stop to look at the situation. Baba is holding your hand, and your future is already in His eyes. And all the answers are there. You know, because we remember this point of becoming is when the plane is taking flight, isn't it? All this time we've worked on the ground, but there has to be a time when the soul takes flight. So this is the first point of encouragement. You know, even when a flight is taking off, it needs to have total focus of energy. It can't get distracted. Otherwise the flight will fall. So similarly, keep looking ahead only at Baba. Do not stop and look at the situation. There's just a few more points that she shared, but this is what will help us to have the courage to take flight. So the first one is just keep looking at Baba. The second one is pay attention to how much you are accumulating and spending. Accumulate enough for yourself and others. Because in our Brahman life, it's not enough just to say, okay, I had a good enough day. I never had waste. Nothing went wrong. It's not about what didn't happen. It's what else I've made to happen. How much have I accumulated? The third aspect in order to become is use silence. Daddy, right at the beginning of the retreat, shared with us that there's 2 qualities that we need: introversion and concentration. These are 2 powerful energies. We need to become introverted, to be able to go inside and look at the self, and then with a deep sense of concentration to take the process to make it happen. So with introspection, you can discern and decide what you have to do. And with concentration, you can make anything practical. So both these powers, introspection and concentration. So when the soul is introverted, it can discern, it can see what it is that it has to do. But then with the power of concentration, you can make anything practical. The next point that came about through the realizations and sharings is eat Brahma Bhojan whilst holding the awareness of Baba. This brings a lot of strength to the body and the mind. And we all know that, but it's about really using that practice. I think a few weeks ago, or a week ago, Baba was saying that when you don't eat the food in Baba's remembrance, then Maya comes, no? And the Maya gets stronger because she's eaten that food. So we need to eat that food in Baba's remembrance. Another process that helps us to enrich the self is, Daddy was saying, keep sharing. Keep sharing what you've received. And we know we only learn when we can give, If I know for myself, if I've listened to a class, the only way I can make that class mine is when I share it with someone else. But sometimes you can listen to it and say, oh, that was lovely. And then half an hour later, somebody will ask you, what was that class? All you can say, oh, it was very lovely, but I can't really remember the points, isn't it? But when we learn to share, those points become a gift to ourselves. So keep sharing all the treasures that Baba has enriched you with. Daily serve as many nourishing meals as you can. So we've received so much, but we have to ask ourselves, how am I using it so that I can then give it to others? If I meet a soul, how can I serve them Baba's knowledge in a powerful way? The next point that was shared was internally keep going home. Then you will naturally be able to maintain the attitude of a guest wherever you go. We'll only have the courage to take flight when we know that this is not our home. Intellectually we can know it, but let the heart accept it. This is not home. Our home is Paramdham. So internally keep going home. Then you will naturally be able to maintain the attitude of being a guest wherever you go. Another point that Daddy shared, my faith is the choice that I have already made. Drama is inspiring me to choose it again. No need to think too much. Because you need that final moment of send-off, and sometimes it's in those moments that we hold back. So Daddy was saying, my faith is the choice I have already made. Drama is inspiring me to choose it again. So no need to think too much. Sometimes we think, can I do it? Will it happen? And the last point that she shared is keep your intellect clean and draw subtle cooperation. Because that will give you the fuel. No matter what the situation is, don't allow any type of carelessness to break your link. Imagine if a flight is halfway. It's just taking off. And suddenly there's hesitation. What will happen? It'll be disastrous, isn't it? So, therefore, don't allow any type of carelessness to break the link. This is the highest effort of all. So, ultimately, when the soul is taking flight, it's that connection with Baba in that way. And the more and more the soul can keep that connection strong, not to allow faith and doubt, not to allow doubt and hesitation to come along our way. So 3 very beautiful spaces of choose, change, and become. During the retreat, we did it through a variety of workshops and different gatherings. But what I had aimed to do is, from all of that together, I just gathered the jewels that came out. And so when the opportunity came today, I thought the better way to stamp it into myself is if I can share it with you. Okay? Any thoughts, any questions? All right? Om Shanti.